Thomas Reed stood in the upscale bakery, his designer suit slightly rumpled from a long day of board meetings. His daughter Sophie clutched his hand, her pigtails bouncing as she pointed at the cupcakes behind the glass. "Daddy, can we get the pink ones?" Sophie's bright eyes sparkled with hope. Thomas smiled down at his 4-year-old daughter, his heart both full and aching. Tomorrow was her birthday, and she had asked the same question she'd been asking for weeks. "Will Mommy be there?" His wife Rachel had left them 8 months ago. She couldn't handle the pressure of being a CEO's wife, she'd said. The constant travel, the social obligations, the spotlight. She'd walked away from their marriage and from Sophie without looking back. Thomas had tried to shield Sophie from the pain, but children sense these things. And now, as her 5th birthday approached, Sophie had become fixated on one thing, having her mother there to celebrate with her. The bakery clerk approached with a warm smile. "Can I help you find something?" Before Thomas could respond, a woman stepped forward from behind the display case. She had kind eyes and blonde hair pulled back in a simple style. She wore a cream-colored dress that suggested she worked there. "I couldn't help but overhear," she said gently, kneeling down to Sophie's level. "The pink cupcakes are my favorite too." Sophie beamed at her, and Thomas felt something shift in his chest. His daughter rarely opened up to strangers anymore. "What's your name, sweetheart?" the woman asked. "Sophie? It's my birthday tomorrow, and I'm going to be 5. Sophie held up all her fingers proudly. "5 is a wonderful age," the woman said warmly. "I'm Emma," Thomas cleared his throat. "We'll take 2 dozen of the pink cupcakes for tomorrow's party." As Emma stood to prepare the order, Sophie tugged on her dress. "Are you a mommy?" The question hung in the air. Emma's expression flickered with something Thomas couldn't quite read before she answered softly, "No, sweetie." Not yet, Thomas's mind raced. Sophie had invited 20 children to her party, along with their parents. They all knew Rachel had left. They would see Sophie's disappointment when her mother didn't show. The pity in their eyes would be unbearable. An impossible idea formed in his mind. After Emma boxed up the cupcakes, Thomas asked if they could speak privately. Sophie was distracted by the fish tank in the corner, and Thomas seized the moment. "This is going to sound absolutely crazy," he began, his voice low and urgent. "But my daughter is heartbroken that her mother won't be at her birthday party tomorrow. All the other kids will have their mothers there, and Sophie has been asking about hers for weeks." Emma's expression was cautious but compassionate. "I'm sorry to hear that. Divorce is hard on children." "She didn't just divorce me," Thomas said quietly. "She abandoned Sophie. Hasn't called or visited once in 8 months." He watched Emma's face soften with sympathy. "I know this is inappropriate, and I know we're complete strangers," Thomas continued, the words tumbling out. "But would you consider pretending to be my wife for 1 week? Just through Sophie's birthday party and a few days after, so she doesn't feel the absence so acutely." Emma's eyes widened. "You're asking me to lie to a child?" "I'm asking you to give her one happy memory," Thomas said. "I'll pay you whatever you need. I own a tech company, money isn't an issue. I just want my daughter to have one birthday where she doesn't feel abandoned." Emma shook her head slowly. "I don't think—" "Please," Thomas said, and his voice cracked. "Just watch her for a moment. Really look at her." They both turned to watch Sophie, who was pressing her face against the fish tank, talking to the colorful fish with pure joy and innocence. "She cries herself to sleep some nights. Calling for her mama," Thomas continued. "She's too young to understand why her mother left. I've tried everything to help her heal, but tomorrow she'll be surrounded by other children with their mothers, and I don't know how to protect her from that pain." Emma was quiet for a long moment, her gaze still on Sophie. "1 week?" she finally asked. "Just 1 week. You'd stay at our guest house. I'd never ask anything inappropriate. You'd simply attend the party tomorrow, maybe have a few dinners with us. Let Sophie feel like she has a complete family for a few days." "This is the strangest thing anyone has ever asked me," Emma said. "I know," Thomas admitted. "If you say no, I'll understand completely. But I'm desperate. I'm a father who would do anything to protect his daughter from pain, even something as crazy as this." Emma looked at him for a long moment, studying his face. Whatever she saw there must have convinced her of his sincerity. I'm a kindergarten teacher, she said finally. I've seen what parental absence does to children, and I've seen how much healing can come from feeling loved and secure even briefly. Thomas held his breath. 1 week, Emma said. But we have rules. No physical contact beyond what's necessary for the appearance. I sleep in the guest house, and you need to have a plan for what happens after. I'll figure that out, Thomas promised. I'll tell her you had to go away for work, or something gentle. But right now, I just need to get her through this birthday. They exchanged phone numbers and made arrangements. Emma would arrive at their home tomorrow morning, an hour before the party. As Thomas and Sophie left the bakery, Sophie waved goodbye to Emma with genuine happiness. Thomas felt the weight of what he'd just set in motion, but also a flicker of hope. The next morning, when the doorbell rang, Sophie raced to answer it. Emma stood there in a soft yellow dress holding a wrapped present. "Happy birthday, Sophie," Emma said warmly. Sophie threw her arms around Emma's legs in a spontaneous hug. Thomas watched from the doorway, seeing his daughter's face light up in a way it hadn't in months. The party was magical. Emma moved through the afternoon with natural grace, helping serve cake, organizing games, and treating Sophie with genuine affection. The other parent smiled knowingly at Thomas, clearly assuming this was a new relationship, someone stepping in to help him and Sophie heal. But something unexpected happened over those next few days. Emma wasn't just playing a role. She helped Sophie with a puzzle one evening, laughing at the little girl's commentary. She read bedtime stories in different funny voices. She listened with real interest when Sophie talked about her day, and Thomas found himself drawn to her authenticity. Emma was nothing like Rachel, who had wanted glamour and status. Emma found joy in simple moments, in Sophie's laughter, in quiet conversations over morning coffee. On the 5th day, as they sat in the garden while Sophie played, Emma turned to Thomas. "You know this has to end soon," she said quietly. "She's getting attached." "I know," Thomas replied. "I just haven't figured out how to tell her." "Tell her the truth," Emma said. "Age-appropriate truth? That I'm a friend who cares about her, but I have my own life to return to. That you wanted her to feel special on her birthday? What if I asked you to stay?" The words escaped before Thomas could stop them. Emma looked at him with surprise. "Thomas, not as a role or a job," he continued. "As yourself. Sophie adores you. And He paused, choosing his words carefully. "I've been half alive since Rachel left. But this week, watching you with Sophie, talking with you late at night after she goes to bed, I've remembered what it feels like to hope again." "We barely know each other," Emma said, but her voice was soft. "Then let's get to know each other," Thomas said. "Really, no pretending. Start over properly. Would you have dinner with me? A real date?" Emma smiled and it reached her eyes. "I would like that." They told Sophie the truth that evening, gently explaining that Emma had been a special friend who helped make her birthday wonderful. And now they wanted to spend more time together to see if they could become a real family. Sophie looked between them with the wisdom of a child who has learned to read emotional truth. "So, Emma might become my real mommy?" she asked. "Maybe someday," Emma said honestly, "but only if that's what we all want. And only after we all get to know each other better. For now, I'm your friend who cares about you very much." "Okay," Sophie said, and hugged them both. 6 months later, Emma and Thomas were married in a small ceremony with Sophie as the flower girl. It wasn't a fairy tale built on deception, but a real love built on honesty, patience, and genuine connection. And Sophie, now 5.5, finally had the complete family she'd wished for. One built not on pretense, but on people who chose each other with open hearts. Sometimes the greatest gifts come from unexpected moments of courage, when we're willing to reach out to strangers and ask for help. And sometimes what starts as an act of desperation becomes the beginning of something beautifully real. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories about kindness, second chances, and the unexpected ways love finds us. Leave a comment below about a time when a stranger's kindness changed your life. Your story might inspire someone else today.